We're live from the Flying J, and well, in or near Humble, Texas. US 59 northbound out of Houston. I either have gone through Humble and am now at the Flying J just north of there, or I have gone through Humble and stopped at the Flying J in. I am not rightly sure which. Wait a second. Hang on 1 second. I have this. New Caney, Texas. C-A-N-E-Y. Alright. It's easier to remember Humble. Okay, like the old song says, got a long way to go, a short time to get there. I'm northbound. Watch the old bandit run. Ballpark 7 hours to where I need to be, and I've got right at 9.5 hours to get there. Alright. So, y'all pardon me, because I can't, when it comes down to doing a logbook, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. And need to make a notch here. 225. Let's see here. I must compensate for the fact that it was rush hour. 30, so that's 55. Right at about an hour, give or take. I wouldn't have made that kind of time through town, but I've done a little bit better than that coming out. So. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, as they say. For those of y'all who know what's going on, apparently those who catch this later, the truck I'm in is a 2003. And any of y'all who know anything about trucking know that 2000 or newer, the law requires that vehicle be operating its logs on e-logs. This is not e-logs. I will say this, because heaven forbid I would be doing something illegal and showing it right here on the internet for all God's creation to see. When your e-log device quits functioning properly, you are allowed to go back to paper. However, just long enough to complete the run you're on, and then you either deadhead back to your base. I don't know, some people think it's okay to go grab another load and head back to the base. Some people say you can't. Depends on which cop's pulling you over, I suppose. And get your e-log device fixed before continuing on in the cartage of freight. Others think, in this particular case, some truck owners or dispatchers or both, and I'm not naming any names here, not calling anybody out, I'm just saying this is the way some people think about it. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, although in my opinion this is not the way the DOT prefers it to be done. But some people think, well, if you just don't keep up with the e-log system, because it runs through a main computer somewhere, and if you don't keep up with the e-log system, then you can say that the e-log doesn't work, and then therefore you can just go back to paper logs forever and ever. Why, there's some trucking companies out here who driver after driver has gotten ticketed for this, and they continue to run that way. Now, mind you, if you got caught not current with your paper log, they'll come all up and down you. You get pulled over and get a ticket for that, then you're a bad person. But you go running without an e-log, even though the DOT requires it, no problem. I'm not saying anything about this company or any company, Swift, JB Hunt, none of them. I'm not saying anything. Just saying there's some companies who actually think that's the way that goes. And they're just digging a hole, companies like that. Sooner or later, there's going to be enough tickets for that same infraction that the DOT will decide, okay, since y'all just basically blatantly disregarded this law, we're going to take away DOT authority. And now the idea that, oh, I don't want to deal with that because I've got freight to haul, won't matter, because you can't haul freight without DOT authority. And you get caught, chances are your driver right then and there is probably going to have to go into jail. It's that serious. It would be like any of y'all who don't have a CDL get caught driving one of these down the road, get pulled over by the cops, and you figure, oh well, maybe he won't have to see my license because you don't understand how the DOT works with trucks. I'm not saying this to everybody, I'm just saying some person would decide to do this. You get caught driving one of these without a qualified driver's license, you're going to jail. It's that serious. You wouldn't believe the lecture. All they got to do is if you have your driver's license memorized, and honestly don't even do that. If you just tell them your name and your address, they can pick it up. On the computer is going to show them the picture of your driver's license, which of course contains a picture of you. They can therefore verify that the guy on that picture and the guy in the cab of the truck are the same guy. They can verify that your license is current and in good standing. But the fact that, God forbid, your wallet would get stolen before you can get back to Arkansas, where I live, for example, get back to Arkansas to get your license replaced. You just can't say, oh man, my license got stolen in Los Angeles, California, my wallet got stolen, so I guess I'll just have to apply for a replacement license here. No, I have to wait till I get all the way back to Arkansas to get a new license. So that's a 2 days drive away, minimum. And, or just, you know, God forbid, the other day I left the house, forgot my wallet. I was a little ways down the road. It was too late to turn around and go back to the house to get it because I had a court appearance I was on my way to. And I was like, well, it's only going to be 3 days. Of course, during these 3 days, if I was to have gotten stopped without my license, there have been serious lectures and hell to pay. And I know if your license is in good standing, you're not going to get arrested. You will get a ticket if you're not having it with you, though. And they look at that really serious. They look at that as serious as if you was driving without a license at all, even though you are a licensed driver, and they can verify it by looking in the computer. So, yeah, there are some things that they just don't play around with. And because of good old-fashioned greed, some people kind of think they just step around it and it'll be okay. Nope. CSA rules say otherwise. So anyhow, that's just the way it works for some companies. Naming out any companies in particular. Not saying it's any that I have any direct relation to, just some companies. Of course, now this would be the same thing years ago. I had gotten between a rock and a hard place. And I don't care how proud you are, how prideful you are. When you can't pay your bills and you can't even put food on your table, you'd be surprised how you will go suddenly from being all prideful and yada 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 to doing anything including begging for help. And at that time, the Facebook, which I don't do anymore. At that time, the Facebook profile my wife and I had together was mostly from her friends, you know, some of mine, mostly hers. We had like, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 quote-unquote friends on Facebook. And I thought of 2,000 people, if just 10%, which is 200, would, you know, help us out. Maybe one person send us $5 or $10, another person. And actually, I what I had needed most, I didn't necessarily need money. I did need some money to help pay some bills. But what I was asking for most was some groceries. You know, if anybody, if it's not in your heart to help, no. I'm not doing that kind of begging at that time yet. If things gotten desperate enough, who's to say? But yeah, if it's in your heart that you can help. If you can't afford to help but want to, but you can't afford to, I understand. But if you can afford to, if you would just help with something, some canned food, whatever. And some folks came through. We had gotten some folks that brought food. We had gotten some folks that brought money. And it was Christmas time on top of that. You know, so people are buying Christmas presents for their kids and other family members, whatever else. So the fact that anybody had anything to help with at all was a blessing in itself. Well, the problem was that I had a job. The mentality of people nowadays would be like, you see a guy standing on the street corner, homeless, traveling and destitute, anything will help, what have you, you know. And a lot of people don't trust folks like that anymore, because I'm not saying every case, but in several cases it's been proven to be a scam. They stand out there in these dirty, raggedy old clothes all day, freezing their ass off. But every hour, do you realize how many cars come across the interstate exit ramp waiting at the red light to change green so they can make a left and go up over the bridge to get on their way, whatever road they're on? Do you realize how many cars come through there every hour? What are the odds that one person might give you $5, another person might give you 10, another person might give you 5 or 2 or whatever? The ability to make $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour cash. And for some people, like, yeah, I'll get out in the cold and dress up in layers. You're still going to be cold. Your face is exposed. Your hands are exposed sometimes, you know. And at the end of the day, you'll notice you only see these people there during the day. The morning rush hour to the evening rush hour. I've never seen any of these people standing on those ramps throughout the evening. And the idea being, first off, that's when the most traffic is there during the business day. But the ability to turn anywhere from $20 to $50 an hour for 6 to 8 hours, and I'm not saying everybody who's homeless, everybody has a sign saying they're homeless. I'm not saying that every single one of them is a scam artist. I'm not saying that. But there's a lot that are. And now here I am, a guy with a job. All these people who know I have a job. And here I am on Facebook begging for some help. It's a one-time deal. It was a shot in the arm. It helped us through, and I appreciate that. I still have a list of all those people and what and how much they donated. And when my financial situation ever betters, I intend on doing something about it. But the one person who had not suggestion, but questioned. I thought you were working. You know, I thought you had a job, basically. And I said, dude, but my boss isn't giving me any hours. And I was a part-time temporary employee. And according to the law in Arkansas, the right to work law, the right to work law sounds like, hey, everybody, no matter what walk of life they come from, has the right to work. Yes. But that's not what the law is actually all about. The right to work law is a very cleverly worded law that allows an employer to fire you for any reason. I don't think they could, because as long as it's not something that's protected. If you're a colored person, you know, you're black person, Hispanic person, Arabs of some sort. I don't know one Arab ethnicity from another. Some of them wear turbans, some of them don't. But whatever is the least desired race among Americans anymore. And I don't think your boss can come up to you and say, you know what, we don't like blacks around here, you're fired. Get out of here. No, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. So they can't just, not for any reason, but for almost any reason. If it's not something to protect, you know what? We don't owe you anything. Yes, it would be decent human beings to make sure that anybody who's an employee at least gets enough hours to bring home a decent enough check that they can pay their bills, or at the minimum put groceries on their table. And I had gone like almost 2 months without any work. Now mind you, the manager, the guy who was my immediate supervisor, owned his own business, as well as had 2 or 3 different jobs at the place where I was employed. And his niece got on there one day and was commenting, because I was trying to, without naming names, without being specific, I was trying to let people understand why a guy who's got a job is begging for basically for money, because even the food costs money. Okay. And the manager, my immediate supervisor, her uncle, and she, well, if you're referring to who I think of who you're referring to, and yada yada yada, and I'm very open and I'm very honest to a point, to a fault, I guess they'd say. And that started a whole whirlwind of everything that was about to become my unraveling, my undoing, whatever you want to say. So I said, look, I ain't trying to say anything good, bad, or otherwise, but I don't think you're much of a human being if you're going to take all the money you're making from the 2 or 3 different positions that you're working at our mutual employer, as well as the income you make from your 1 or 2 business ventures, and live high on the hog while I'm over here starving to death because you can't find it within yourself to say, you know what, I'm just going to basically get so busy that I can't do everything I got to do and use this temporary guy to get him at least a little bit of money. For crying out loud, it's Christmas. We couldn't afford a package of bologna while everybody else is eating turkey or ham or duck or goose or whatever it is that, you know, certain people have on their dinner table during the holidays. So people get really upset, whether it's the truth or not. They get really upset that you would dare put that out there for all the public, for all God's creation to learn about, because now it puts them in the hot seat. Because the other people who are their mutual whatever clique, the people who are at the same level as they are like, really, man, is that true? You won't give that guy not even, you know, take 10 hours a week and find some way to give him something to do? I understand there's budgets and things, and if you're a supervisor, a manager, etc., that you're going to be held accountable for if you spend too much. I get that. You know, you're getting a salary, and to say, well, I didn't feel like doing anything today, so that the temporary guy can get a few hours in this week. Is that going to make you the top employee with your boss? No, but it'll make you a real decent human being. And so I'm not doing that. I'm just saying the law is the law in this case. The law is the law, and some companies, I'm not even saying this company that I associate with, just some companies that I know of, that's how it works. I've been doing this a long time. So some companies do is they They choose which laws they're going to follow and which ones they don't. We all do to a point, because there's very few of us that watch these posts of mine. There's very few of us who can honestly say, I never, ever exceed the speed limit. Ever. If it says 55, I don't do 60. If it says 30, I don't do 35. If it says 20, I don't do 25. There's very few of us who can honestly, truly say we never exceed the speed limit. Most people, our attitude is, the cops will give you 5 over anyway. But the law says, that white sign with a little black border around it with a number MPH in there, that's what tells you, or it's a speed limit with the number in the middle, actually what it said. That tells you what the law requires you to do, and you're not to exceed that. A lot of people have the mentality, if you're not doing the posted limit, come on, get out of my way, speed limit's 55. You're right, the speed limit is 55. That means you can do anything under that, but you cannot exceed that. Most people look at a speed limit sign as you need to be doing at least this much. No. Although you can get ticketed for not speeding. I had a cop pull me over one day. He let me go. I was in Collierville, Tennessee, heading into Memphis. And I had come from Mickey, Tennessee, which is basically North Mississippi. And I had no hurry. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no traffic on the road. US 72 is a 4-lane divided highway. The speed limit is 55, cutting down to 45, and at that point, I'm right there where it's still 55. You can see the 45 zone ahead of you. I'm doing 35. Nice day, beautiful weather out. Instead of running the air conditioning, I got the air off. I got my windows open, just easing on down, one-handed, just chilling out. That kind of a thing. I usually got the music going all the time. I had the radio off and was just in the zone, just chilling. Way ahead of schedule for where I needed to get. Is he getting hot in here? Or panting? Panting. Man, it's warm in here. Okay, we'll turn the heat down. And anyway, he pulled me over because I wasn't doing the speed limit. Well, most people are doing 5 and 10 mile an hour over the limit coming through here, and so the fact that you're doing 10 miles under the limit that you're approaching and 20 miles under the limit you're leaving, I thought maybe you might be drunk, because that's one of the signs of a person who's been drinking, is they drive slower than the speed limit. So and he didn't give me a ticket, he let me go, but he said, probably keep it at least maybe 5 under the limit if you're not going to get in any big hurry. Even though there's no traffic on the road, I'm not a hazard to anybody. Yeah, if I saw headlights behind me, I'd start picking my speed up, so I'm not going to be the recipient of a collision with a big truck. And especially at that time, my 86 Dodge Intrepid, or 96 Dodge Intrepid, you get hit by that thing, which I love that car. It was a great driving car. But it's not, it doesn't have a frame, it's unibody. If I get hit by a big rig and that thing, it would fold that car in half. So anyway, he let me go. I wasn't drunk. You can tell I'm one of these people. When I talk to people, I look them in the eye, and I don't care who you are, cop, black, white, otherwise, I don't care. I look people in the eye when I talk to them. So he gave me my license back. He was convinced I ain't been drinking. He let me. Of course, ran my license number first to make sure I didn't have no warrants or anything, and let me go. So, but yeah, they will nab you in certain situations for not even doing the speed limit. But in most cases, if you're doing 10 under, speed limit's 55, you're doing 45, just easing down the road in the slow lane. You're not impeding traffic by driving slow in the left lane. You're in the right lane driving slow. Most cases, they won't even bat an eye at you. So, but like I said, I don't know if it's human nature, what it is, but very few of us can honestly say that we don't ever break traffic laws. That we don't ever break the law. So, that being the case, I suppose in some way we all choose which laws we will or will not obey. And that doesn't change for truck company owners. I used to work for a truck company owner in Corinth, Mississippi. Uh, this company a lot of times gets mistaken for Warner Enterprises, the big blue, two-tone blue trucks. That's all I'm gonna say. Those two pieces of information right there, anybody really wants to know can figure out which trucking company I'm talking about. They didn't do shit according to the law. I mean, everything was about hauling freight, hauling freight, hauling freight. I mentioned this company the other night where the guy, he was all big old bodybuilder and on steroids and everything. He'd get so mad, have temper tantrum, he'd just clear his desk. 3 times in the year that I was there, year and a half, whatever it was, 3 times he had to replace his desktop computer for doing that. It's only money, right? But you're in business to make money, and when things don't go right because you hadn't planned on things going wrong, or hadn't planned for the possibility of things going wrong, that you have a temper tantrum like that. And it was like a little kid being sent to his room and, I don't know, told what a disappointment he's been and whatever else, and you're not having no supper tonight, and he'll go in there and just start trashing everything out of his anger, uncontrolled anger. That was this guy I used to work for. How I stayed there for a year and a half, however long it was, I don't know. Most cases, I know I was hungry, I suppose. Usually, no matter how bad a job sucks, unless I have another job to replace that job, I won't leave, because like everybody else, I got bills to pay and whatever else. But yeah, anyhow, the only reason I personally would be out here with paper logs in a truck that is required to do e-logs, because the e-log devices momentarily stopped working, but it needs to get fixed. That's my story, I'm sticking to it. Anyhow, hang on 1 second here. We are going to get rolling. I overslept. I'm still ahead of schedule as far as where I need to deliver, but I don't have a whole lot of room for error now. I don't have a whole lot of room for adjustment, if you will. I'll have to pull over every now and then and make a notch and that. But basically, I've got to keep my little tushy rolling. I'm assuming the one person that's in here is my missus. I'm sorry I didn't get to call you, baby. I'm literally, I mean, you probably can see it in my face and hear it in my voice. I haven't been up very long. So, hang on a second here. Let me through there. Alright. Yep, he's the mama. Hi, honey. Anyway, so we're going to hit this little button right down here, right in the chair. Voila. Turn on them little headlights. Although I can see here, get out on the road, won't be able to see nothing without them. For anybody who watches this later, or who might be popping in here right now that I'm not aware of, because usually whatever number this says is having people who are in attendance, there's usually one more. I am doing this, I'll start putting it in the description, I suppose. Hi Bobby, how's it going there? I am doing this so that I have the ability to prove, in the event of a road rage incident, if somebody was to jump up in front of me and hit the brakes, then I can, what is that? Bobby Newsom. Why does that name ring a bell? I usually can't read who it is when my phone is sideways. I can't have, all I can do is read it otherwise, but because I'm not yet driving, I'm able to focus on the screen here. What y'all see right now, I see the same thing, except in the left column will be the little text bubbles. I can read the text a little bit right now, again, because I'm not moving. It's really difficult to see the fine print of who it is. Once I start driving, I won't be able to see who it is at all. And anyway, that name rings a bell. What is that name? I'm not sure. It'll come to me. But anyway, road rage is a very serious problem for truckers because we're slow. That makes us an easy target. And what people like to do, because you're slowing them down, you're pissing them off, and they've got places to go, they're in a hurry. They're in such a hurry that even though they're angry that you've slowed them down, and even though they have the ability, now that you've gotten out of their way, to move on down the road, they still have enough time to check up in front of you, sometimes 2 or 3 times. I had a guy do it twice, and you can tell him kind of weaving in his lane, that he was looking in his mirror considering whether or not to do it a third time. And it's a good thing for him he didn't, because when he done it the first time, the truck that was directly behind me was from the same company, except I was putting in a white Mack pulling a 53-foot van, no, 48-foot van, and the other driver was in a red International pulling a 48-foot flatbed. So nobody would have ever expected that the two were the exact same trucking company. And when he hit the brakes in front of me the first time, the guy went by the handle of Tabasco. Tabasco had to jump the left lane to keep from rear-ending me, because he was probably following me a little too close. What it was, we were starting to climb a grade, and he was making better time than I was. So now that he's jumped in the left lane and grabbed the gear, which I'm also trying to grab another gear, and before I can even, when he got on the radio, says, "Man, what are you doing up there?" The guy in the Buick had done it to me again. And of course, now I'm slowing down to about 10 miles an hour, hitting the brakes I'm on a 65 mile an hour interstate, about to become 70. And all because I couldn't move over to let this guy merge into traffic. And when people see a merge sign or a yield sign on the end of a ramp, they actually think, a lot of people, not everybody I would say, they actually think that what that means is you just head on out there, and whoever is in the travel lane, it's their responsibility to move out of your way. And that's the mentality of people, some people, a lot of people. When in fact, what that yield means, yield right of way. If there's someone in that lane and they don't move out of the lane to allow you to merge, then you have to yield, you have to back off. So he tried to accelerate to get around me on the shoulder, but the shoulder got real narrow because we was coming across a creek bridge. You know, a little low concrete structure, and most creek bridges, the shoulder isn't very wide. He wasn't getting through that way, so he had to hit the brakes. The problem is, there must have been 17 trucks behind me. Literally. 12, 15, 17 trucks. And he couldn't do anything about it. So, hang on here, I'm going to get rolling, because there's a fellow over here looking for a place to park, and I'm about to leave, so it's time for me to roll. So he decides when he finally gets his chance, because now he's stuck on the shoulder until every last one of those big rigs can clear, because there's traffic coming in the left lane, which was the whole reason why I never moved over for him, because I couldn't. There was cars beside me. So I'm on the CB radio, and because Tabasco at that point still behind me, and he and several other truckers are talking about the white Buick on the shoulder that's stuck by the concrete bridge, and he can't go anywhere until all this traffic clears. And he finally gets a chance to get behind all those trucks, and as soon as the left lane clears, here he comes, and you can see it. If you can tell by looking at someone's face, the anger in their eyes, you would definitely be able to tell it from looking at this guy's headlights. I mean, you could just see the steam coming off of his forehead, as angry as he was, in his headlights in my rearview mirror. It's pitch black dark out. This was around Louisville, Kentucky. And he gets in front of me, hits the brakes, Tabasco slides over to the left lane.
Turn left, US Highway 59.
And he, of course, does it the second time. Well, by now Tabasco's caught up with me, and I've grabbed the gear, he's grabbed the gear, we're back rolling again. And I'm not gonna lie, man, I mean, sometimes stuff like that, it just really kind of pisses you off that someone would be so careless over a situation that you had no control over. It's not like I purposely held him on his ramp. So I did. I told Tabasco, I said, "Hey man," I said, "if he does it a third time, you saw my brake lights, right?" because I had no intentions of ever letting up. I was push him into the guardrail, run plumb up over him, whatever happens, happens. And I told somebody this story,
After 1/2 mile, keep left.
oh, maybe a week after it happened. And they actually scolded me and said, what if there'd have been a baby in the back seat of that car? Well, if there'd have been a baby in the back seat of that car, then maybe they ought not to be brake checking semis. I don't know. If they don't care about their baby, why should I? That was my mentality.
Keep left.
And but the
Follow.
people don't think
59 northbound. US 59
that
northbound.
any car nowadays, you know, they're made out of plastic, aluminum. People don't realize that you take that up against an 80-ton truck, you're gonna lose. It's like putting a penny on a railroad track of a train that's pulling empty railroad cars and expecting, after the train comes by, expecting that the penny won't be squished. The very first wheel that hit that penny, assuming the penny didn't jump off the rail after that, the very first wheel on the locomotive was enough to squish the penny. But the mentality of people is vengeance and rage because you slowed them down. If that's the worst thing that happened to any of us in a day, any given day, that a semi-truck actually slowed us down, oh well, we're doing good. You know, I was in a wreck a little more than a year ago, and one of the passengers in the other vehicle that I was involved in the wreck with wasn't seatbelted, and he died. I'm pretty sure that if he had the chance to think about it before he left this world, angry about one time or another when a semi-truck got in his way and slowed him down, would have been the last thing on his mind. But that's the way people are. They're in such a hurry that how dare you slow me down? But yet they'll slow themselves down to go ahead and mess with you in traffic for a little while, do a brake check or whatever else. So that's the reason for the live streams while I'm driving late at night. Here just a little bit, the street lamps will stop and it'll be pitch black dark, and the only thing y'all are going to see is whatever's in the path of my headlights. Which this is old school glass headlamps, so you're not going to see much. But the back right here, that's the last street lamp right there. The main thing is if someone does one of these brake checks, because a couple weeks back someone did this to me out with bobtail. The only thing more difficult than bringing a truck with an empty trailer to a stop, because since there's no weight holding the rubber to the ground, you lock the brakes up, it'll slide. The only thing more difficult than that is trying to stop the bobtail truck. That's a truck not pulling the trailer. The tractor only, however you want to say it. They'll slide, if the road is banked, they'll actually turn sideways. The rear end will kick out from under you, so to speak, in the direction of the slope of the road, crown, however you want to say it. And it caused some problems. So I was bobtail, and I'm changing lanes. I can see this guy in my mirror. He's coming a good half mile or better away, and he's moving. But we're coming up on a red light anyway, and I need to make a left. Not at this red light, but the next one, which in Memphis, Tennessee, would be Shelby Drive. But see, he's used to doing 70, 80 mile an hour because he's coming off the interstate in Mississippi. At Holmes Road, which is the first red light you encounter around 78 after I-22 ends. So, alright, we're going to have to listen to some squeaking. I apologize. They put brand new windshield and brand new windshield wipers on this truck. The wipers just aren't all that. I need to get some Rain-X and take care of that. Rain-X makes it when you're moving fast enough, about 35, 40 mile an hour or better, you're hardly need to use your wipers. But anyway, the guy got so mad because now his intention was to keep on driving like that until he finally got up to the red light. And now he had to slow down somewhat. He was able to get between me and the truck on my right that I had just passed to go around, went around the pass, and I stayed in the left lane because the next light ahead of me, I'm going to make a left turn. So he got around me on my right side and cut back in front of me so close that you couldn't even see his tail lights. The only way I know he was stopping was by the little red light up on his rear deck, his rear glass. And he slammed on his brakes. Fortunately, this truck, they had just put brand new tires all the way around and brand new brakes all the way around. And I wasn't going very fast, so I was able, but it still slid. But being what they call virgin rubber, the tires are still soft and they grab the asphalt real easy. So I was able to stop without hitting him, but it was real close. And of course, if I'd have clobbered him, he'd swear up and down that I was the one with road rage and tagged him. So I know that every time I do this, I'm repeating this story, because every time I do this, it's not always the same people who are reviewing. So every now and then, anybody other than my wife who views this is like, yeah, I heard this the last time. That's why I keep saying it. So. But anyhow, I just need something, because right now I can't afford a dash cam. I don't want to buy a cheap dash cam until I can afford a better one. I really need a dash cam that also has two more cameras, one on each side, showing down the length of my trailer. And I can't afford a system like that right now. So people would say, well, you know what, the harm that could come in the lawsuit that could come in a wreck, how can you afford not to? Well, in the end, if you don't have the cash to pay for it, they don't let you leave the store with it. It doesn't matter that I can't afford not to have it. I don't have the cash to buy it right now. So the way it is, everyone thinks truckers have money coming out the wazoo. Not if they work where I'm at. I get paid by the mile. The problem is I don't get very many miles. Now granted, January and February are slow because of inventory. Every year, a lot of places they stop shipping. They ship like crazy through November and December, get everything out, and then they close down to take inventory, and then we go back to business as usual. So it's March, things will start picking up, but all through the summer and fall, coming into the winter, with the place I'm now employed, I haven't been getting enough miles to really be making the kind of living you're used to making as a trucker. You got to be getting 3,000 miles. Minimum 2,800, maybe 2,700. And there have been a few times I've got pretty close to that, 24, 25, 26. But it's usually 1,500, 1,100, 800. Can't live on that. So, because of that wreck I was in a year ago, that involved a fatality, even if someone desperately needs drivers, their insurance company isn't going to let them put me behind the wheel of their truck. To it, so I basically stay where I'm at until I finally get out of trucking and go back to doing something else, and I'm working on that. But yeah, I just need something. See, like right now, you can't hardly see the road. You can see little bits and pieces of things here and there. I'm coming into an area, Conroe, Texas, I guess this is, and it's well lit up. Throughout this trip, there'll be darkness and then street lamps for a little while for a small town, then darkness. But even in the darkest of situations where last minute sign saying 59 is this way, okay. Even in this darkness, although you can't see much of the road right now, if a car pulled in front of me and slammed on his brakes, you definitely see that. For one, he'd be so close to my headlights, his whole back end would be lit up like crazy. And for two, just the tail lights alone will light up, easily in the camera, much less when he hits the brakes. I just need to be able to prove that God forbid I should rear-end somebody in such a situation, I just need to be able to prove that it was them who initiated contact, not me. And it's like, this is Texas. You get, if they determine that an accident was caused by road rage, and you're the person who basically the proof on the video is labeling with road rage, you're going to jail. There ain't no, well, we're going to give you a ticket for excessive driving or whatever it would be called. No. Now, you know, the old saying is don't mess with Texas. If you have, I don't know if it's for cars and trucks or just trucks, but anyway, I got a ticket years ago because I did not change lanes as I was passing a police car. Now, mind you, that police car, the guy did not have his lights on. If you don't have your lights on, as a police officer, you are just another vehicle. That's the way the law looks at it. So I can see him through his rear window. He's got his cell phone out, leaning over onto his hand. But yeah, baby, about another hour and a half, and I'll be heading home. You know, that kind of a thing. And so I did not change lanes, and I know I should have, but I didn't. And so he pulled me over. Now, if he was in the, even if he was in his patrol car, had someone pulled over with his lights flashing, or even if nobody pulled over, he's got his lights flashing because he's looking at a broken guardrail or something, he has the right to give me a ticket because he's doing his job. Therefore, he is a police officer. The car is a representative of a police officer doing his work. But if he's just sitting there with his lights off, then he don't even have his foot on the brake, he's just sitting there parked. He's just another car. And on the back of the ticket that I got for that, you find out what your fee is, and then you mail it in. And for everything you can possibly be ticketed for in a motor vehicle, and a commercial motor vehicle is on the back of that citation. The cheapest ticket you'll get in Texas is $200. There's a lot of stuff on the back of there. It's $200, all the way up to $2,500. Of course, the higher the fee, the higher the fine, the less things that there were that were represented by that fine. But yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? $200? But yeah, it's the way it is. No mercy on truckers anymore. So if you brake check me, road rage, and I can't avoid you and I wind up rear-ending you, and then you tell the cop that I was tailgating you and rear-ended you, that you can tell the cop, well, he's been following me for miles, harassing me. All I've been trying to do is get away from him. I was slowing down because of a ramp coming up, trying to make sure I didn't hit the ramp too fast. And I'm going to get the ticket or possibly even arrested. But now that I have this up, so that's the idea of it. My wife watches almost every one of these live streams, so I imagine by now she's tired of hearing that story. But yeah, I just feel it necessary to explain to any of those of you who've not seen any of these before. That's why I'm driving around in pitch black dark at night with the camera on, and all you can see is 100 feet in front of the truck. My main concern isn't what's going on 100 feet in front of the truck. My main concern is what's going on within 15 to 20 feet in front of the truck, which currently is nothing. But if someone slides over from this left lane into the right in front of me, every bit of 20 feet or less, slams on the brakes, all of a sudden it won't seem so dark anymore. My headlights will be lighting their car up like a searchlight on a police car having someone pulled over, and their brake lights will add more light to the whole situation. And when the cops get there, I will be able to prove that no matter what that driver says, that it was they who initiated contact, not the other way around. All right. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, trailer trucking. It is exactly 11 p.m. And according to my GPS, if I don't stop for nothing, I will reach my destination at 5 a.m. Now, a minute ago it said I had to miss 7 hours to go. Now it's saying I got 6 hours. 313 miles, 6 hours remaining. The speed limit is 75 miles an hour, and I'm in a truck that only does 70, doing 68. And again, pardon the squeaky wipers. This is really not, I mean, I don't mind carrying on a conversation, so anybody tunes in, they get something out of this other than just watching a truck driving through the dark. But the main reason for this is to cover my backside in the event of a legal issue. So, squeaky wipers or not, I've got to keep her going. If I back the wipers off a little bit, I mean, it's just drizzle out, but it's drizzling consistently enough that almost immediately the windshield starts collecting enough water that you can't hardly tell what you're looking at. So, all right. The noise y'all are about to hear is me plugging my phone back in. Apparently I hit a bump back there. Didn't even notice that my phone cord came undone. I guess I still don't see the little thing letting me know that my power cord is working. Well, if I have to, I'll pull over here in a minute and take care of that. It's just 3 people here, because my little icon up there says 2. Alright, there we go. Now it's working. Alright. Northbound and down, loaded up and trucking. I'm gonna do what they say can't be done. I've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm northbound, watch old cowboy run. I'm gonna learn that song. I play guitar, and I enjoy playing guitar. So I'm gonna learn that song. That's a good song. High speed, got for a country tune, got some energy. Of course, it's an entire band, but banjo player, guitar player, drummer, piano player. I'm just one guy with an acoustic guitar. Yep, I want to learn that song. Trucking. Big wheels rolling, moving on. Big wheels rolling, gotta keep them going. Big wheels rolling, moving on. The white line is the lifeline of the nation. Men like Will and Sonny make it move. Living like a gypsy, always on the go, doing what the best know how to do. Jamming gears has got to be a fever, 'cause men become addicted to the grind. It takes a special breed to be a truck driving man, and a steady hand to pull that load behind. Big wheels rolling, big wheels rolling, moving on. Big wheels rolling, gotta keep them going. Big wheels rolling, moving on. Little Merle Haggard there. I own the DVD box set. It actually wasn't a box set, it was shipped individual DVDs. But I own that television series. Moving on with Claude Atkins, I believe his name was. I can't remember who the other fellow was, but anyway, it was a really good television show. Back in the day when BJ and the Bear and a lot of these other trucking television shows, there used to be a lot of movies about trucking back then. Really enjoy stuff like that. Back at the same time, country music had all kinds of songs about trucking on the radio. Teddy Bear by Red So Fine. Phantom 309, that was a good one. Giddy Up Go Daddy, also by Red So Fine.